Hey Luca, indeed long time no see. I was kinda busy with Christmas and New Year's and family first, and then afterwards have been in holidays where sadly I spent quite a lot of my holidays being sick, but it was nice regardless. What can you do about it? And how are you, cutie, doing? I have been not really playing much because I wasn't around. I did a few small things in progress. So it's not like nothing has changed, but it's not a world that has changed. But we have an absolute shitload of things to detail out. We started building this area on stream the last time. And this entire area of Los Vagos is one I've been fighting with pretty severely. I'm still not 100% happy, but I rebuilt this many, many times. Generally, I throw down a layout of something and then I need like maybe a single iteration or two or three. This area of the city, meanwhile, has been rebuilt many, many, many times by now because I've been struggling so hard with it. I start getting it down to a style that I think I actually quite like. I want this to be a more modern and orderly counterpart of the old Los Vagos, which clear to see this has very little clear road layout, very little grittiness in there, which in general I'm very happy with because we do follow the terrain quite a lot. So it does make sense our roads are not that straightforward. But this area of the city, I would like to be a bit more modern and orderly. So I've been trying my best to get it into this area and working through it. There is quite a lot of areas now that we will have to dive in and detail out. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm starting to finally be fine with it. It's still this upper part here that I'm not entirely sold by, and we need a better transition here between kinda cargo industry area and more suburban shopping. So yeah, I'm not thinking we're done with this at all, but at least this middle part of it I think is starting to look out very cute and a lot better than what we had here originally. Like I said, I've built this or rebuilt this multiple times, and again, I'm starting to finally be happy with this. This I think makes a very nice center plaza piece over here, and been trying some of the new assets as well. I've been curiously looking at my FPS counter, which definitely has not been getting any higher since I'm adding more custom assets, but we'll have to figure together how much my computer can handle while the stream is still somewhat acceptable quality wise. So gladly any feedback on too much stuttering as well. That means I will have to cut down on my playset a little. And I'm glad to be hearing you been doing good. How come you were not around on Twitch? I guess you were busy with family over Christmas as well, most likely. Or what is the reasoning? The one thing I think I want to dive in right away, because this is really close to being done and very set in stone. It's a build that we dedicate to our dear Canadian Moose, because I quite shamelessly stole this part. Moose had this in one of his builds for a junkyard, and I think it's a very cute little detail that I very much appreciated, so I went ahead and stolen it shamelessly. But to make up for stealing Moose idea so shamelessly, we also went ahead and branded this entire scrapyard in honor of Canadian Moose, which we've done a lot of graffiti and different things for Moose in the past, so it's been fairly easy to brand this appropriately for Moosey. We will have to do some small little cleanup, so still some things to do. In general, I'm very happy with it. How come not playing CS2 as much anymore? I shouldn't talk, I didn't lately either, but I have to be honest, I'm loving this game right now. I do think the asset editor, while there is not loads of new things yet, I am a gigantic fan of it. And I love the few small things they added, even if it's just a nice vehicle model like this or a nice vehicle model like this. I do think it does so much with the build that I'm wholeheartedly excited about it. And thank you, Luca. It's starting to actually be pretty goddamn sizable. I played a very little yesterday and did some clean up work. And I am shocked. I don't think I should do this too long because this is gonna have a severely bad impact on my FPS. But goddamn, we're an actual big city by now. For a very long time, I could pretend we're a small, rural little shithole. But yeah, especially by now, we've grown dramatically. This is still my very favorite area of the build, and probably the one we spent the most time in. But I think it's really coming together by now, so having an absolute blast, and some of the new assets we've been getting are absolutely beautiful. Back here, I try to work with quite a few of the new things. So this, for example, we've got this beautiful mosque, which I think is a beautiful asset. I'm quite happy about the size of it because I think many of the newer signature and kind of landmark buildings are just gigantic, right? And they are too sizable for Los Vagos. So I was very happy to see that there is also some smaller, cute signature buildings that we can actually get away with using in here. Again, this entire area is completely unfinished, but quite a few cute new assets. This is a new custom asset as well. This rundown, I guess it's called Brazilian house. I think is a beautiful asset. It's fairly simple, fairly bare bone, but has some nice texturing and really does fit the style that we want. And same goes for this. I'm sure most people have seen this already. This is the Trist, I think he calls himself. Aussie horsing or New Zealand horsing, terrace horsing, and it's beautiful. I absolutely love these. There's quite a few more. Is a really the first really big proper pack that kind of covers an entire region. And especially because he's doing more similar things, I think builds from New Zealand are now absolutely on the menu because thanks to Tris, there is an abundance of good assets for that region now. And luckily, quite a lot of them fit quite well for us as well. Yeah, I can very much relate. As you know, Luca, I'm German myself, and I would not even think about building a German city yet. I do think you can get away with building smaller, pretty rural and small, cramped German villages, I guess, because we have quite a bit of I don't even know how to word this correctly, but we have very stylized, stereotypical things, but I don't think we have broad enough architecture to pull off an entire interesting European build, especially if you look at cities, right? As somebody who's living in a big German city, I don't think we're anywhere close to being able to pull off a convincing German city. Maybe in smaller scale, yes, you can get away with it, but then if you want to build a full-fledged city, sadly, I don't think we're there yet. I know that some people disagree, and I do think, in all fairness, whenever I say this, I have to preface it with I think part of this comes from me being German and having less clue about authentic US architecture. So I think I'm more forgiving in the US. If the style of something isn't perfectly spot on, then that's not the end of the world for me. Most likely I won't even properly notice myself. But then in German build, since being German, I very much notice myself, and I don't think I would have fun in a European build yet, unless it's something very small, very stylized, like a small, maybe maybe a small Austrian mountain village or something. I mean, for me, it's the exact opposite. I would never want to live in my own city. But I play cities quite different than most people, I guess. I play this more like a parody. I mean to make fun of something, not only fun, obviously also try to build something cute, but I think for me it would be way more boring building something actual German. Why, Riza? I'm not using a new mic. Maybe my audio settings reset or something. Does it sound worse or better, or where's the issue? I might still be a bit sick, so maybe my voice sounds a little different than in the past, but I mean, I'm not complaining about that. If it's more clear, then absolutely no complaints. I can very much live with that. But yeah, no, nothing changed on this side. I updated my OBS. Maybe it's that. Maybe OBS updated something about the way they are doing their audio filters or something. But yeah, no input on my side for this to have gotten better. And welcome in, Riza. How are you cutie doing? In fact, actually, Riza, I need to show you something. Look at this. This is the first area where I'm gonna use your new statue. I think this is the most recent one. I also do really want to use the how's it called? Do really want to use a cross you made, but the cross so far has been too big to fit it properly anywhere. So this is the one I went with. I actually think I use another one somewhere else, but again, we have not streamed in a while, so I kind of lost my own build, need to find into it a bit again, but we've been making a lot of progress on this entire side. But yeah, as you can see, I started using the smaller plaza decals of you quite a bit, where they fit as well. Yes, indeed, very cute. I think they were beautiful. There is a pack that kind of should be yours, but isn't yours, that also is very beautiful. And it's this new one. It's an entire pack of urban sculptures. Some of them are not perfect, some of them are very cute. In general, I don't think the quality of this pack is outstanding or anything, but we have such a lack in this area that any variation we can get is appreciated. And as you can see, some of these do look fairly nice. Yes, I've been starting to get more and more of the new stuff into Los Vagos, and wholeheartedly, some of these are absolutely beautiful. I mean, I guess you wouldn't be the first one, Elgendo. I wholeheartedly had to chuckle. I think I shared it on my Discord, that comment of somebody who first started out saying something nice and came in and said, "Oh, the thumbnail of your video looked very beautiful." And then I went ahead and looked at your video, and your voice was horrible, so I immediately closed it and unfollowed. And I was like, okay, thank you for that very valuable and nice criticism. I guess I'll just change my voice or something. But what can we do? At least we made somebody on YouTube happy, I guess. But yeah, actually, quite a lot of new things. I've said this before you guys came in. I also started trying around with these. I'm not entirely sure if we keep those here, but really, out of all of the new asset maker, Trist, I'm never sure. Was that guy around in CS1 already? Huh? But Trist is doing a lot of really beautiful things. I think, like these, for example, are both Trist buildings. And I think they are stunning and work really well. I think even this is a Tris building, if I'm not mistaken. This entire threefold corner here. And then not only these, but also these beautiful, cute, smaller buildings here are all Tris buildings. I don't know why that pedestrian asset broke yesterday. That was fine. I guess it is because we kind of spliced that into the other building, but a bit weird that did not cause issues yesterday. So I'm a bit lost why it's causing issues now. I'm not entirely in this area yet. This is one of the areas I'm still trying to figure out. A lot more of the build actually otherwise is taking form because while I didn't really play much while I was away, I did spend a little time yesterday and during Christmas to clean up this area. There is a few things we definitely have to do with too much traffic. I built in this horrible looking road just to test if this is helping our traffic. And I do think, sadly, we will have to make this more permanent. And we went ahead and did something that is very ugly for now, but also mainly for stress testing, something we will build out later. And I've given Los Vagos a second highway entrance, which so far we only ever had one. I don't think a single one cuts it. So I went ahead. This is fairly tricky to get through here. Obviously, this is not really made to have a road in here. I decided we can get away with it. Is not cleaned up. Lane mass and logic of all of this is horrible. Generally, I do think this turned out pretty cute, so I'm fairly sure that we will properly build out this highway connection out. I really like the way the road goes next to the canyon here, which looked very different prior, but getting there. Yeah, I mean, the road layout here is crazy. I don't hate it though, I have to admit. Like, yes, the on and off ramps here, they are horrible. So all of this we would have to fix out. Otherwise, I actually quite like how well we get away with this, even though how cramped it is. So I do think we will build this out more appropriate. And welcome in, Rookie. Nice to see you, cutie here.
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
And heck yeah, Shilka, welcome in and thanks for the raid. What have you been playing today, and are you already back at playing Cities, or are you still kinda tired and grumpy about Cities playing other games? Because I hope we will get Shilka back really soon. I miss a good City Shilka stream, but I guess lately Shilka doesn't really feel like Cities. How come grumpy as fuck? But welcome in, Shilka and Raiders. Hope you had a nice stream anyways. I have never even heard of that game, so you would have to enlighten me about what kind of game that is. And how come you're so grumpy with Cities? Because especially with the asset editor, it's still a buggy shit game, please don't get me wrong. But it's an even more fun buggy shit game now. And I personally always had a lot of fun in this game, so even with how problematic and buggy and weird parts of this game are, I've always been having an absolute blast playing this. And I have an even bigger blast now with the editor, even though we didn't get that much new things. Some of the new things we've got in Shilka. Look at this bus. Do you see how absolutely adorable and cute this bus is? I love it. And it's just Just small things like this we've gotten so far, but I'm loving it, honestly. I don't think the game needed the word in things. The one thing I'm really missing still is a lot more vehicles and a lot more like smaller kind of props, but otherwise I'm wholeheartedly pretty happy with the game right now. Ah, that sucks. Ooh, that does not sound nice at all. And if I recall correctly, Shilka, you also really are into lifting, right? Because I guess lifting with a broken shoulder is also not very feasible. So makes sense you're this grumpy then. But yeah, get better and welcome in Friedrich as well. Yeah, the bus is beautiful. There even is a second bus. Let me see if we can find it somewhere. There is a second bus that I also absolutely adore, and that one I am even happier about because it's left-hand traffic. It's this one right here. It's another new custom model we've gotten, and I think it's adorable. Absolutely adorable. And again, we are on left-hand traffic, so a lot of the bus models are not optimal for us. But this actually is a left-hand drive bus model, so perfect for us, and I do think it fits really well. Yes, is a tad too modern. I think vibe-wise, the other is even cuter, but sadly this is a right-hand drive model. Do I ask Clyde if maybe he can try mirroring it? And if he can try mirroring it, then who knows? Maybe we will get this in an appropriate format as well. And curious, I know lots of people like satisfactory games or any of those kind of fabric production games. I have never warmed up. I tried to play Factorio for 2 hours, and I don't know why, but I just couldn't warm up with it. So eventually, I kinda jumped out of it and didn't really enjoy it. Cities is the exact opposite. While arguably probably the worst game, I'm having so much fun in this game. And thanks, Shilka. This we're looking at the entire unfinished area of the city. This is what we're trying to style match and get a proper layout to fit this part of the city, which I guess this is our entire finished part of the city, where I cannot put my camera up too harshly, else my FPS drop very harsh. But I guess this is our actual build, which by now we've gotten shockingly big. Really, it all started in this area, and I thought we're kinda gonna stay this vibe and this size of the build, but then we kinda exploded a bit from there. So yeah, by now it's actually getting really sizable, and I struggle putting an end to this city. It's gotten a lot bigger than I wanted it to be. I thought this build is gonna stay more rural than it is, and I do think we still, especially in these areas back here, really hit the rural vibe, right? This clearly is a very rural and rundown US build. But yeah, we've grown quite substantially. Like when you zoom out on this entire thing, we're basically building out this entire canyon. And by now, I'm fairly convinced that we will actually build out this entire canyon after all. But yes, with this area, I've been fighting for a long, long time. I've been demolishing and rebuilding and resorting many areas of it. By now, I'm very happy with parts of it. I think everybody to our side of this road is pretty much finished. I also love this self-storage here, even though it's undetailed, but I think it will come together. This This area here, I am not sold on yet. As with everything, we probably rebuild this like 20 times till we're very happy with it. But I'd rather spend a lot of time to get an area to look appropriate and feel happy with it, and then not having to rebuild it later on. So I'm never in a rush diving in. We always have enough time detailing small things like this, anyways. So this is probably what we're. Which big concrete area? This one here or this one here? If it's this one here, Elgando, you're the right person to ask, because this is a build dedicated to Elgando himself. This area right here, but we need to figure out a bit more about it. This is gonna turn into the Elgando tile factory. So soon you will have an Elgando surface and tiling factory over here, which is the biggest industry in our entire build. Well, outside of our mine, I guess our mine will always be the biggest industry in our build, but it's the biggest proper factory slash small business. But yes, I will need you to do some decals, exactly what you said. What I will ask you for is just a few surfaces. I will need mainly these tiled ones and probably this one for sure, because it's the single best surface we have in the game. And we need a few other ones. I need nothing special. I just need a decal that's big enough to fit this skate box. So I can put a few displays of your surface outside. So this, and then I guess the area you actually meant is this. This is gonna turn into a self-storage area, because the more I think about US cities and look at it, the more I think we need a proper self-storage in the city where people can stash their things away. And is not the most interesting visually, but I think it fits very well in the vibe of the build here. And it's just a morph of a lot of different warehouses, I guess, that we back together, and then we have this word office building here in the front. Is gonna take a while till we dive into this, because we have. I was wondering, I like that it's so big, Elegando. I have to be honest, because look at the size of our city by now. I don't think it's that big. I looked at Google Maps a bit in regard to self-storage, and some of them are massive, right? Especially since it's the only one we have in our build. I do think it is allowed to be pretty big. Yes, I agree with you that I think the spacing in between these buildings, this is a bit too wide, right? So we want to make this a bit more shallow and take less ground area, but I actually quite like the rest of it. Again, this entire area behind this street is not set in stone yet. It's the area I'm currently trying to figure out a bit of a better layout for, but we will get to it, and I'm gonna try to catch up on chat real quick because I've been missing everything. First things first, welcome in Baganario. Nice to see you here. And thanks, mate. It's been a while. We're making slow and steady progress in Los Vagos, but yeah, glad to be back and be playing again. So getting there. What 2 FPS are you playing, Shilka? Now I'm curious. And I hate dying keyboards. I had a few keyboards die on me in the past, especially of laptops. And nothing more annoying than when important keys suddenly start dying and you have to press them very aggressively over and over. Yes, and it's one of those. Well, I guess it's an ad break, so I'm gonna wait till our cutie Elgando can hear us again and then respond to him, because I would be responding to him, but Let's give it a moment. Also, there has been one new pack that's really exciting. I hope I can find it now. Should be somewhere in here. I mean, I would say that might be an even bigger issue, Shilka, because you cannot just buy a new guy punching your keyboard while you can totally replace your computer or your keyboard. So that seems like an even bigger problem to have. But yes, these assets here, quite a few of them are military related. I'm not loving the military assets itself, but this simple small box here, god damn it, how I love this, because we been really struggling with industrial props. I think we have a lot of industrial props that are very same to each other, and I been severely waiting for more assets that we can use to detail out normal industry to be a bit less repetitive. And these three here, also this satellite dish, even though we don't need it for where we are right now, what an absolutely amazing satellite dish that we will definitely use in many of the more rundown areas. So very happy about the variation we're getting, honestly. And yes, now the ad break is over, so now I can respond to you, Elgendo. Yes, I mean one of those with lockers in it, where people can store away their things. And I do think I have a central building. This is supposed to be the office and central building complex facing to the street. And then in the back, I'm hoping to build out this storage area where, yes, you do make a good point that probably we should get rid of this small one here and then make all of this a bit more shallow and pressed. But I do want to have a lot of space for outdoor detailing, right? I want a lot of props and vehicles and stuff around here, so I don't want to have it too cramped. Generally, maybe you make a point that this is a bit too big. I do want it very sizable though, because especially looking at self-storage, they are gigantic. It really is gigantic areas where people lock things away. Now you've gotten me a bit insecure about the scale of it. Before I was confident. Now I'm a bit less confident. And enjoy your dinner, Shilka. And again, thanks for the raid. Yeah, I think making it less wider is the solution, because I tried around with other buildings. We do have very few that are fitting nicely for self-storage, because one of the things I really care about is not needing back access for it, right? Where the back of the buildings are all closed off and with a lot of garage entrances, and we actually do have quite little variation. There is one building that I initially included in it that we've gotten rid of by now, and it's this. Because I think maybe some smaller ones would be fitting. I did have these run in here at the start. I think it's too much. So I'm not entirely sure if I'm gonna stick with it or not. I think I'm probably just gonna reduce the spacing of it and move all of these buildings quite a bit closer and make the in between smaller. I have to be honest, Baganariu, I have not touched it in a long time. I do still really want to build it, and I do really want to finish that map, so I promise you, I will put that map out eventually. I just been having too much fun with the game. I know that sounds silly, and I know I'm probably the only person on the planet because everybody else seems to be spending their time in the editor making stuff, looking at stuff, and building stuff. I'm actually having an absolute blast since the editor just playing the game. So I had trouble not playing and doing other things instead, I will revisit Avila Beach. I'm sure eventually there's gonna be a time where I'm more bored of the game, and then I definitely want to finish it. But I also did wholeheartedly not assume or didn't assume the editor launch to go nearly as smooth as it did. So part of why I was diving so hard into Avila Beach was that I figured Los Vagos will die with the editor. And then came the surprising news that Los Vagos was pretty much entirely fine. Surprisingly, really. I did not think that would be the case. I figured Los Vagos will be at least severely broken and need a lot of cleanup. And was kind of preparing myself to move on. But now, this not being the case and me having so much fun, I think Avila Beach is not cancelled, quite the opposite, but it's gonna have to wait a bit because there are so many things I wanna build first. And now, this is something very curious because here I wanna build an Easter egg for something that I believe nobody will understand beside German viewers of mine. It is not something German, it actually originated in the US, but for some reason became a lot more popular in Germany than elsewhere in the world. I'm talking about die drei Fragezeichen in German, or I guess the three question marks, which is a children detective series made by Alfred Hitchcock originally. And I'm wondering if anybody in my chat right now is familiar with what I'm talking about, or if everybody here is having. See, Rookie is one of the few German speaking people in my chat right now, so of course he immediately knows what I'm talking about. I'm curious if anybody who's not German knows what I'm talking about. Cause maybe Friedrich and Rookie can already figure out what we're doing here with what we're looking on. I think for every three question mark fan, it should be very obvious what I'm trying to build here. Yeah, you won't know it, Elgando. That's exactly the problem. It's something that's very. It's called the three question mark, and it's a detective series that, again, it is originally from the US, so you guys might know it, but in Germany it has a very big cult following, and people love that series through all age groups. I don't know why it never gotten as hyped anywhere else, but here it's a thing every kid knows, every adult knows, is a really. They sell out entire full blown stadiums if they read their series on stage and just audio act it. So, honestly, here a very big thing. Nowhere in the world it is as big as a thing as it is for us. So, forgive me, but to explain what I mean, in the three question marks, there is a trio of three teen detectives. Let's call it that. And those three teen detectives, they solve cases, and they are for hire for crime, and they investigate cases and do detective work. And their headquarter is at their parents' house or at the house of one of their parents, and the parents are owning a scrapyard. So this is a scrapyard, even though in our case it's Moose scrapyard and not the actual scrapyard we're using from the series. But on that scrapyard, they have their detective headquarter in an old rundown camping trailer, and that camping trailer is really hidden by all kinda junk and trash and things. So unless you know about it, you will never find it. So you will have to work yourself through it. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to have this trailer be their headquarter and then have all kind of junk in front of it covering off the access so they They have their small headquarters here in the back. Again, this is an Easter egg that I guess most Germans will appreciate and most international people will be confused about because that is not really a big thing outside of Germany. That's why I'm explaining this because otherwise probably you guys would be confused about what we're building here. Yes, the junkyard is by Uncle Tito's, which I guess in our case it will be by Uncle Moose because this is a Moose scrapyard. So again, we're kind of changing history a little here, but I figured it's a nice place to bring that Easter egg in. So I'm trying my best right now to cover this up so we can build a small headquarters here in the back. It's always so curious to me because again, I don't understand why a series that did not originate in Germany but originated in the US has become such popular cultural thing in Germany but nowhere else in the world. Like whenever I talk to people from the US about this, it's completely unknown to them even though it originated there. This is not something German. So yeah, always been very curious to me why that happened, and if somebody can educate me, gladly do so. But here I'm not kidding. Like they quite literally sell out entire stadiums if they have a show, and it's people of all ages. You've grannies and grandpas next to school kids who are in a stadium for the first time in their life, and it makes for a very cute and cozy atmosphere. I think we're kinda getting there. From this side, we need a lot more high junk to properly cover this up. But else, we have a small, cute entrance through here. Again, I have only ever read the books or listened to the audiobooks of it, so I have no actual idea how this is supposed to look in real life. So we are just building, as pretty much always, from our imaginary or from our imagination and trying to throw something together that can kind of function for what we're trying to build here. If this is going to be very accurate later on, don't ask me. I don't know either. But I think we can pull this up kind of believable. Yeah, I guess there is these things where they get very popular in different countries, but not in the country of origin. I think there is quite a lot of German music as well. Biggest example will always be Rammstein, where I would say in Germany they are not unpopular, but not super appreciated. Every time I travel to the US, the first question I get asked is if I'm a giant Rammstein fan. To which my answer is always I've listened to two different songs of them and I don't really like them. So I guess it happens, but always fascinating to me how something like that can be as extremely different per region. Is this hidden enough? In in my head in the series, I would say this is even more hidden, where you can absolutely not see it from the outside. So I guess we're gonna have to keep getting this higher and higher. I still want enough space to put at least a small table in front of it. But yeah, we do need some more cover in front. And I'm curious, since I've not been streaming in a while, and I'm sure many people of you have been playing a lot of cities lately, what assets are you cuties the most excited about? Because especially in the time where I was in holidays, I was very positively surprised when coming back about the amount of good new assets we've been getting while I was away. I would have expected there to be less and the general quality to be worse than it was, but I felt like Christmas after being back from my holidays, looking at all of the new stuff. Yeah, some of these bands, I sometimes I listen to in my head English music, and then I try to figure out where the band is from, and I'm like, oh, they are German. I had no clue about this. And a few of the ones you just named are exactly like that. Okay, so from this side, it is very well covered now. I think this is exactly how I imagine it to be in the series. From the entrance area, though, I have to be critical with myself. From here, it still is a lot too visible. So we will have to manage to raise the level up a bit more, like we have it there. And then I think it's only this side here where we need to add a bit more heath to it. And then I think we're done with it. I do think there is so many good assets out by now. Like, yes, it's not getting as flooded as I would guess probably the CS1 workshop has, but I can't judge. I never use a CS1 workshop, so I'm just guessing here. But always keep in mind how awful the documentation in CS2 is for the editor for now. I think probably the resources to learn asset making are also a lot worse. So I think a lot of it is people just needing time to figure things out. And then the other big part is that assets are just more complex in CS2. So something that I guess in CS1 felt quite quickly doable in CS2 suddenly costs a lot more time. So those two factors together, I think, really make the workshop move slower than in CS1. But I don't really mind the speed, even with just a few things we've gotten. I am so excited wholeheartedly. I don't need much. I already love the game without editor. Now having the editor, I just love it even more. I think this is kinda good enough. Here it's still a little visible, but here I struggle just maybe actually we've been going so extreme, maybe we just stack a few things on top of these cars as well. Because this is the one area where you still see too much. Problem is that we'll start seeing the bases in some spots, I believe. Have to check in this side. One last one somewhere out here, and then I consider this hidden enough. And for once, pretty much everything else that's hidden in our city is hidden due to sketchy criminal activity. For once, this is the exact opposite. This is not hidden due to criminal activity. This is hidden because it's a detective office where crimes are getting solved from. So you guys be very careful about the nonsense you're doing in Los Vagos. These people here, they will catch you and they will make you pay for it. Want all of this to be less colorful. The heck? Why did it change away from the brown? This to look more old and run down. Probably even go in with some of the Elgando stains and work on this. I mean, let's see. We've not seen anything of Ice Flakes yet. I'm really curious about the first proper update we're getting, because I think that can really make or break this game. If people are very happy with what we'll be getting, then I think that will put a lot of confidence into the game. But it might also be the exact opposite, and people are being very unhappy about the first opposite or update and being less confident. So far, I think everything they said and shown made me more confident. So I'm quite hopeful, but maybe I'm also being delusional and too hopeful. I hope we'll find out in the next few months if that's the case. But for example, that Ice Flake introduction video I thought was quite solid. Not sure how other people are feeling about it, but at least in my opinion, quite solid. And this statue, I have absolutely missed this. We must have gotten this with the bike, the DLC, or not DLC, but the bike patch. I was scrolling mindlessly through assets when suddenly this jumped out to me, and I think it's such a perfect fit for a word scrapyard as an outdoor advertising. It's so weird and quirky that together with this beautiful thing we stolen of Moose and this wheel, I think it's so cute. I mean, again, I don't want to. I don't know enough to be able to have a proper expectation. Most people know a lot more about cities than I do because I'm still fairly new. But I don't know, for some reason, I feel like I'm more positive about most of these things happening than the majority of the community. And especially now with the editor, I also feel like it was a pretty good moment to change devs because even if now there is a bit of a downtime period and silence, I don't think it matters so much because now, thanks to the editor, we will get new and continuous updates anyways, right? Even with them not being able to immediately put out more content. So I don't know. Even if they take a while, I'm quite hopeful. I just hope they start fixing more small things, because as great as Colossal Order must have been as developer, they also seem to be slightly delusional as in how long people are willing to wait for big fixes while not fixing any of the small issues. And I like their agenda on wanting to have the game as perfect and flawless as they can get it, but you cannot keep adding small like bugs and issues onto the game over and over while working on really big things but not fixing the small issues. Yeah, I agree. I actually agree. I also think there is a big misunderstanding in how different the workforce is, because I think, especially with people looking at LinkedIn profiles and such of Ice Flakes, there is quite a few of Colossal Order people at Ice Flakes, right? For me, well, Jay or Harbormeister Jay really showed me something that drastically changed my perception of this takeover. And its Paradox itself has a mission statement from, I believe, roughly 3 years ago, where they say in their mission statement that they will, or their plan is to become not only a publisher, but a publisher that integrates the most important products and studios under their brand, right? So it's quite literally them saying, if we really care about the game and the developers, then we want to buy them and eat them up as a company and have them function under the roof of PDX. And having read that, it does really change how you look at cities, right? Because at least in my head, that takes it from, oh, they're eating it up, to them just being in line with their brand statement, them caring about cities as a title so much that they decide they wanted to be a core part of their brand. All of this is just speculation, and I might totally be wrong, but it at least made me personally feel better about it. So maybe it does the same to some of you. So I think there's going to be a lot less changes through this than what people anticipate, and it's more a change of management than anything else, really. And I want this chaotic, but I don't want this overly chaotic. I want this to still be usable fairly fine. Let me catch up on chat real quick again. Welcome in, Metzger. Yeah, I guess untypical early stream for me, but I wanted to stream the entire week and I never got onto it because I was too busy with things. And today I had time quite early, so I decided instead of waiting for later, I'm just gonna jump on and stream, and probably stream somewhat short, but it's been so long that I really felt like diving in and playing a bit more again. So here we are, but not gonna be super long. I mean, I get that. I think a lot of why my perception of the game is so much better than of the majority is because I did not have to see all of the awful marketing nonsense. Because I did not play the game at that point, right? When I started playing the game a bit over a year ago, and at that point, I didn't buy the game due to marketing. I bought the game because I was watching people like Canadian Moose or Sully on YouTube. So I knew exactly what I would be getting, right? While there is many people who I guess had a very different expectation of what they're getting. Because I do think the marketing is pretty unhonest of cities, and I do think I've said this many times on my stream. I do think selling this game as a strategy game is unhonest because the simulation in this game simply, at least in my opinion, is not there yet, is not a deep strategy title. If anybody buys this game because they want a complex and deep city management game, then yeah, that is a rough one for them because Cities is not that yet, I would say at least. So if eventually they manage, then they can market it as that as well. But I always found their marketing questionable, to say at least, because they market this game as it would be a deep and complex simulation title. And maybe that's just me. I don't think it is. I think it's the single best city builder and city painter out there. And there is some base simulation that is interesting enough to not completely bore me out, but pretending that it's more than that, in my opinion, is unhonest. And welcome, Clovis. Nice to see you, cutie. I heard you managed to stream yesterday after all. I jumped into your stream because I'm finally back from holiday and had a bit of time and figured I can watch a Clovis stream yesterday. But then, as soon as I entered your stream, your internet died and you went offline, and then I did other things and kind of forgotten about it. I hear you managed to stream again afterwards. If so, that is very nice, but unfortunate on your troubles otherwise. Was it your internet yesterday? Because it seemed like your internet just died when I was watching you. Okay, okay. Yeah, I didn't have that much time yesterday, so I checked in like two more times or something after your internet gave up, and then eventually I had to bounce. So I did not see that it worked out in the end for you, but glad it did. Nothing more frustrating than having internet annoyances while streaming. Okay, do we need to brand it somewhere else? I don't think anything on this side needs proper branding. We have branding here, we have branding here. Maybe actually we should put the branding somewhere here as well. Yeah, I heard that you had issues with overloading your GPU. I actually, good that you remind me of this because I wanted to message you about it. I think I'm a bit of an edge case with that because most people recommend you stream on your GPU because most people have a better GPU than CPU. For me, it's the opposite. My graphics card is dying when I'm playing Cities while my processor is taking a nap. So I always streamed on my CPU instead of my GPU. If I stream on my GPU, my stream is very lackluster and crashy. If I stream on my CPU, I'm absolutely without issues and everything works perfectly. Not saying that could be a solution for you as well, but maybe that could be a solution for you as well, Clovis. Because again, depending on how detailed your build is, in my personal experience, I know Cities is always considered to be a CPU intensive game. Not for builds like mine, not for builds that have very low population. I mean, we have like 21,000 and is highly detailed. So my graphics card really is a lot more taxed while playing than my CPU. So my solution was just streaming with my CPU encoder instead of my GPU encoder, and I've been doing very well since. So maybe that could be an idea for you as well. Though, in all fairness, I also do think your computer is quite a bit more powerful than mine. So you should not have to do that. For me, it's more out of necessity than anything else. Oh, also, I guess we should delete this. This I just have here because I was so amused about this asset. Is a fire hose that we've gotten added. And for some reason, it is dancing. Even if you don't do anything,
I wish we
as you
had a
can see,
cactus.
it is dancing. No matter what we do, no matter what happens. I don't know why that prop does it, but I found it hilarious, so I put it there. But I guess we should get rid of the weird dancing fire hose coming out of the wall, because it's not there for anything. And I also wish we had a cactus, Clovis. But in good news, I guess we are in a time where theoretically at least we could get a cactus now. I guess vegetation is the one area where the editor has not really seen any proper assets come in so far, but I hope sooner than later we will get it. Also, guys, look at this. I don't understand what is going on here. This mesh is very weird with decals because as you guys can see, everywhere here, I have no problems applying anything. Works perfectly fine. And then in this entire corner of it, that is not the case anymore. I can in some areas, like the upper part here, this wall has no actual mesh, nowhere here can we manage to properly apply graffiti like in the other parts, which not the end of the world, I'm not complaining, but curious technically why this is happening. Because then again, in some areas it works. As you can see, the roof here is perfectly fine. The inside here is perfectly fine, but that entire outside of the build, we can't really touch. Why that is, don't ask me. I don't know, but very curious. For asset creation, just refer people to CSM, really. I guess there is a few people in my Discord as well that could help with it. But the best address for things like that will be CSM, because it's where all of the asset creators are exchanging and helping each other. So makes no sense going anywhere else really. And here we're just gonna try sneak this. We're gonna place the graffiti here. Now we're gonna try moving the graffiti where we actually want it. It doesn't even draw on this wall at all, even if we move it there. That is crazy. I don't know why that is okay. Oh, it does actually. I just moved it too far. But yeah, then we can graffiti here. It's a bit finicky, but whatever. We can live with finicky. And welcome in, Polytruck. I'm never sure if I pronounce your name correct. I probably absolutely butchered that. So feel free to correct me and tell me how I should pronounce it instead of the miserable name I've given you instead. Well, if you don't care, that is perfect for me. I like that. Yeah, again, if you're wondering why I'm applying graffiti so annoyingly complicated here, is because this mesh is not actually holding anything, so we have to move them into position instead of just being able to place them like we would like to. Here we can place perfectly fine, but in the other areas, sadly, we can't. Want something small that doesn't cover the moose, something like this. I mean, then gladly refer to my Discord if you don't want to send him to CSM. The only reason I say CSM is the best address in this is because there's the most knowledgeable people, right? Like, I know there's a few asset makers in my Discord as well that I'm sure will gladly help out, but the actual best expertise for sure is to be found in CSM. And I wouldn't give up Baganario. It is very complicated. Even experienced asset makers have been complaining about how complicated stuff is to import. I'm sure you will manage. Even maybe you will have to ask a few silly questions, but I know that, for example, Trashy, I'm sure some of you guys know Mr. Trashcan, who's a very nice city streamer as well. He has been working on a very nice model for a while, and he did some test imports with all of them working out fine. So I'm sure that he, for example, would gladly help out if you need somebody to give you a hand, or Elgando, who I'm not sure if he's still here, but Elgando was in here earlier. Elgando obviously made a beautiful gas station already that we are using somewhere on the very end of the city, so it takes us a while. It's actually a build we have to finish. I kind of forgot about it. But we have this beautiful gas station, the Axion gas station by Elgando here. And I'm sure Elgando can also try help you import something, because honestly, many people just want to see more assets. So if they can help somebody get more assets into the game, then I'm sure people gladly help. Yeah, I also love Elgando's gas station. It's very cute. I have a word custom version of it, so it's a bit different than the original. I think the original has a wall here. I did not want a wall here, so I had to annoy him and ask him if he can send me a version without that wall, which luckily the mastermind did. So now we have this. And we turned this into the headquarter of our new gang in the city, the Miyata gang, because out of all new things we've gotten, I think the Miyata is still my favorite. So we went ahead and gave Elgendo the Miyata gang and built a nice headquarter here and built this cute Miyata terrorist scene over here where they do nonsense on our parking lot. Usually, I would say we have to discipline those people right away. But the bad news is that as soon as Elgendo founded the Miyata gang, he've gotten the police to be on his side as well. So part of our police force immediately gotten bought by Elgendo's Miyata gang. So now is a bit problematic for us to get people to behave in the city. Yeah, it's getting dangerous in Los Vagos, Clovis, because look, we have the Miyata gang over here, and then we have a second gang back over here, which is our biker gang, which, hold on, why are these, see, always good to recheck things, because why are these there? They are not supposed to be there. And why is that rock there? That's also not supposed to be there. But we have this rocker biker gang over here, which very dangerous people. I would not want to mess with these. And then we have probably the most dangerous gang in our entire build. And they are back here. And it's a scooter gang. And obviously, the scooter gang is a gang you don't want to mess with. They're called the Booty Riders. They're very dangerous people. Obviously, scooters are the most dangerous form of transportation. So I don't want to mess with these. I have to admit though, I do desperately need to recheck my animals because a lot of my animals are doing interesting things like this, which I know Los Vagos is a fairly cursed build. This is too cursed even for us. I'm not entirely sure what is happening here. But they changed how the animals function a while ago. Jay fixed them, but I'm having a bit of issues with the existing animals, at least some of them. Some of them work fine, others do stuff like this, which I'm not entirely sure if I love it or hate it, but yeah, that is something I definitely have to revisit. But we have these three very horrible gangs in the city, so Los Vagos is getting dangerous, is one of the reasons why I already started putting this down here. I'm not sure how soon we will get to touch on this, but I will have to build a prison in Los Vagos because there is too many bad people doing nonsense in the city by now, and I cannot have any of it. So we will definitely go ahead and build a nice prison in the back here eventually in the future. Yeah, that pig looks disturbing. I have quite a few other animals. I do actually have to be a bit careful with the animals because they can crash me. But the worst ones are the birds. Oh, actually now they look okay. Sometimes these birds looked very I don't understand why sometimes they look fine, sometimes they don't. The last times I looked at this, these birds here were very cursed. Now they look fine. And yeah, I'm sure you can ask Mr. Trashcan, especially if he offered that to you. Mr. Trashcan definitely is knowledgeable about not only Blender and asset making in general, but he's also been learning how to import stuff. So I think he's a great address, for example, and I think Gaga and Elgando probably also good addresses to help us with these kind of things. One of the things I have barely used yet are the animated sims, because I've been not really playing in the time where they came out. I definitely want to go through our build more and put in more of these animated ones. I don't think for what we're doing here, any of these are the best ones, though actually I take that back. Obviously, we need somebody taking a selfie right here. I love it. Absolutely beautiful taking a selfie right in front of the moose. Yeah, I built a few things as well. I built, but again, I've not really been playing much. I started building a group of dancing people down here because I figured what does a plaza like this need in Los Vagos? Obviously, a bunch of raving people dancing in the middle. So I tried around with them a little, but not too much yet. I've been a bit scared because one of the things we noticed in the last stream is that the ones that come pre-packed with the tables, they spawn multiple times. So if you place down a table, you might as well place down 4 or 5 different sims with it. And I'm not a fan of that. That's going to be pretty performance intensive and not what we want at all. So after that, I was a bit more careful. Yeah, no worries, Clovis. Good luck in your meeting, and thanks so much for tuning in. Indeed, been a while. I think today is going to be a pretty short stream as well. I just haven't streamed in so long that I really felt like using the little time I had today and jump on and stream a little. And with these, I'm always scared because if we can manage to get one of these to sit at a perfect level to sit on something here, that would be very nice, but we can't really move them afterwards. I guess what we can do, this could actually be a solution for us. We can take a chair, any chair. Sadly, they are all in the middle of these staircases. This, and we can line up the seating area with a place. And if we can line that up here, for example, we should be able to sit down somebody on this corner. So let's see if our bad science here actually kind of worked out. We should be able to take one of these people and make him sit on there. That worked out like charm. Holy heck. That's that's honestly something we'll keep in mind because yes, that works perfectly fine. We can always take the chair and see if we can get a chair seating area to be at appropriate level. Then that is a place where we can actually go ahead and place a sim down on the same level. Nope, sadly nothing works with the sims. No movie, no transform tool, no anything. So it is a bit finicky to work with them. That's exactly why we need a weird workaround like the one we have here, where we can troll or can check the level where they would sit at. This, for example, we can sit somebody on top as well. We can just move the staple fairly slightly to match up more appropriate. But yeah, sadly not. Otherwise, working with the Sims would be a lot easier. Ah, yeah, see, this he actually did sit on the projector, but his feet are a bit in the ground. We are just gonna trick around and put something flat under his feet, so that's not as obvious anymore. We're just gonna be sneaky, take this, and the rest we can fix up with move it or transport. transform tool, just so he's not flying mid-air. The annoyance here is that we already have decals that make using transform tool pretty difficult, so we will instead use move it for this. I'm not sure who taught this to me. Somebody in my chat in the last stream taught me that I can move things more slightly with Move It if I press Control. I am playing this game for over a year and I had no idea about it. So whoever taught that to me, big thank you. I was entirely clueless about that possibility and it's a very appreciated one. Because in some, like, we could have done this with transform tool as well, but it would have been a lot more finicky thanks to the decals. So being able to move very slightly with move it is very appreciated. Yeah, and it's not only page up and page down, and then that is what I obviously knew. Then what I got taught by somebody, and sorry for not being able to credit appropriately, I should be able to, but I don't recall, is that you can press control. Because right now I use page up, page down, right? And now I can, not in this, because we're placing it, but in using move it, you can then use control and page up, page down, and then you raise and lower it a lot more lightly, which again, I had no idea about and very appreciated. Can we touch the car instead of the lift? Sir, please. Give me the vehicle. Okay, there we go. This lift actually is a bit too wide for some of the custom ones. It's perfect for the vanilla vehicles. Yes, Alt for straight segments, also something I didn't know. The control I did not know at all. So that was very, very appreciated. And obviously, welcome in, MND. Sorry for the late proper response. I love this vehicle. This vehicle, the Miata, the bus of Clyde, and then this absolute gem of a transporter. I love these. I wish we would get more shitty vehicles. We've gotten quite a bit of very nice vehicles so far, but I need more shitty vehicles like this. I want a quad, I want a mobility scooter, I want a lot of very weird vehicles, and I hope we can get some of those soon. Sadly, even though a lot of things about the Sims have gotten nicer, the LODs of the Sims have gotten horrible in that update. They just look really bad from far away really quickly. Yeah, I'm glad that worked again. For a while, that was actually broken to move the elements in a straight line in manipulation mode, and it made road building a lot more difficult. But luckily, Yen gotten around to fixing it. In fact, talking about Yen put out a mod that originally I asked about, and that is worth gold. I'm gonna save real quick before I show it to you guys. But if you guys have a look at my game right now, there is one thing that does not look like it should usually, and it's this small thingy down here that says Topo. And it's a beautiful mod, because yes, we can get those typography lines in many of the tools and overlays, but we could never get it to show while using Move It or just doing general stuff, which I thought made many things very complicated. So I carefully asked Yang Yang if he think he can give us a mod to toggle contour lines tool unspecific, so just turn it on or off no matter what you're doing. And the mastermind went ahead and built Topo, the mod, which is beautiful. It's not a mod that changes the game much or fundamentally or anything. Obviously, it's a very, very small function for something very specific, but it's worth gold for that. Like, especially in the editor when you're doing map stuff, it is so annoying to not see contour lines while you're using Move It, for example. And thanks to this mod, that is an absolute issue of the past. So honestly, very, very nice mod. I will use this loads. Again, is not something that is very feature rich or something that feels very mandatory. But in the situations where you need it, it's worth gold to have the chance to use it. Enjoy your break, Elgando. And hope your workday doesn't go too long anymore, though I guess it will still for a while. And back here for our hidden base, we want to put some. Oh god, that was a horrible chair placement. Gonna have to move that in a moment. But I want to put 3 seats out here so our detectives can take a rest outside as well. In their hidden trailer base. Which again, you can get there if you sneak through here. But you're not supposed to go back there. In fact, we should actually give this even more cover. So you can only see this pass if you know about it. Probably we find a lot more here than I want to. What happens if you type dome? Nice. Cause I mainly want a pile of tires. I think these are a very nice prop to detail up areas like this. I wholeheartedly think Dome never published these anywhere. So sadly, this is not something that's easily accessible for anybody. But if you ask Dome nicely, I'm sure he would send them to you. Because I only have them because I messaged Dome nicely and said I would really like to build some piles with his tires, but I wanted to ask him for permission first. To which he responded, "Oh, I already built those piles and I can send them to you." So luckily we have those, but I don't think he ever put them out somewhere publicly. But especially for some junky area like this, they are really worth gold to just be able to throw those around.
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
Aye! Welcome in, Andy. Nice to see you, cutie, and hope you had a nice rest of your stream. I was watching Andy for a while before I started streaming myself today. So I hope you enjoyed the rest of your stream, and I guess for all of the raiders, welcome in, and from one desert city to the next one. So this is our cute small desert paradise. We're looking at the unfinished area of it right now, so I guess I'm gonna drive over it fairly slowly. Excuse my frames, my computer is ass. But we're building a weird, crazy, rednecky desert paradise with people living in weird trailers and train wagons if they feel like it, with people having skate parks in their backyard. All kind of weird things is what we're going for in here. And it's been a while. Actually, Andy, I think you will be as surprised as me about the size of Los Vagos by now, because you've been here a lot earlier than where we are now, and we've been getting really, really big. And welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, Amy. Welcome in, Bexy. Of course, steal that raid sound. I'm a gigantic Office fan, as I guess everybody in the world is, because Office is perfect and wonderful. So I figured that is a very nice raid sound. But yes, go ahead and steal it, of course. Yeah, I mean, we don't talk about my fumble of accidentally setting up this entire
I wish
save
we had a
in
cactus.
left-hand drive, because yes, obviously this should not be left-hand drive. But then it's Los Vagos, and I guess people in Los Vagos do whatever they want. So driving on the right or the wrong side of the road does not seem like the biggest issue we have in our city. In fact, there is a lot of worse issues we have. I always wondered about that, but the truth is, Baganario, that by now we're in so deep that my entire road layout is built for left-hand traffic. I would immediately crash my entire traffic, and I actually quite like it by now, because obviously this build has there is no real life counterpart to this, right? We're not building after Google Maps or anything. We're building weird stuff like this that we feel like building, but I doubt you can find anything like this anywhere in Google Maps anywhere. So I'm not too sad that things are not perfectly logical, because really nothing in our build is perfectly logical. So them driving on the wrong side of the road, it's whatever. If they feel like driving on the wrong side of the road, then let them. But yeah, the real reason why this happened is just that I was playing in a British build prior to starting Los Vagos. And it turns out if you were in left-hand traffic before and then change, you have to make sure to take off left-hand traffic. Else it's gonna carry over to your next build, which is exactly what happened to us, even though it's not what we wanted to happen. And then I realized fairly long after having started Los Vagos, I wanted to draw bus lines. And I was getting very frustrated why the bus lines were not functioning the way they should. Safe to say that was all my own failure, and I just had traffic on the wrong side of the road. So I don't know. That was like 2 months or something into our build, so too late to change anything. And I'm sure we could change it somehow. But again, I accepted it by now. You need to own your mistakes. So we're trying to own this slight mess up we had here. And welcome in, Jordan. I mean, if you find out on Google Maps, then please send it to me, because I would love seeing something like that. But I very much doubt it. I'm sure you can find similar things, because it's not like I never look at Google Maps. I enjoy looking at Google Maps. I just think real life is more boring than what I want to build in a video game. So I tend to ignore real life inspiration and just build things the way I think they should be built. Yeah, no worry, of course. You go shovel snow and have a walk with your doggo. Thanks for the raid as usual, and I'm not jealous of you for having to shovel snow. We in Hamburg, where I am from in Germany, had a lot of snow these last weeks. In fact, probably the most snow we had in like 15 or 20 years. So snow shoveling feels painfully familiar for me lately. But yeah, enjoy it, even though I'm sure you won't. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it will somewhere. I think the only reason why I say probably something like this doesn't exist on Google Maps is because I shrink things so harshly, right? Like this, everything in this build is a lot smaller and more condensed and cramped than it should be. And that's not an accident. I think real life scale is not working very well for an interesting video game city. I think you're shooting yourself in the leg if you're not severely shrinking everything. So that alone makes this different than real world. Obviously, otherwise, I do use a lot of real world inspiration, especially the vibe and flair of things are very much real life. In fact, is mostly travel memories of myself. Which those travel memories, some of those are fairly long ago, so I'm sure quite a bit of this is fairly flawed by now, but it works well enough, I guess. And this is very important for anybody watching. No crying at work, please. It's not something we welcome here in Los Vagos. But at least Moose is giving you great deals in his junkyard. So if you wanna make a good deal, then visit Moose scrapyard. He surely is not trying to rip you off. So one of my very first decal packs I ever put out. And yes, is a bit silly and shouldn't be used in most cities, but for Los Vagos, this is a 10 out of 10 fit for us. Where even is the entrance supposed to be in this? I guess this is the official entrance. None of these seems like a door to me. This doesn't look like a door. I think I actually have those signs uploaded on PDX even. I believe this is from it's from the Los Vagos Science Pack, which I really should update because I made a quadrillion signs that are not included in this, but yeah, they're very, very old original ones. They should all be in my Los Vagos Science Pack. There is a lot more serious and better alternatives to my pack. Like there is a great pack by Sully that has nice signage like this. There is a very great pack of Red Kool-Aid that has signage like that. And there is industrial signs by El Gendo that are also really, really nice and probably more appropriate than what we're doing here. But again, I like to be unserious and have fun in Los Vagos, so I decided we also need a bit less serious signage for our city. Yeah, well, that's their fault. That's their fault, M&D. If they would put up this sign in their retail, then that could be a problem they could avoid really. But I guess they don't, so who's to blame but them? Yeah, I mean, I'm also in the same boat. My game takes forever to load because I have so much custom stuff in it. But I'm at least in the comfortable boat of my game being incredibly stable. So I don't really crash, and with that, I don't mind much because I just start my game and grab a coffee and do something different, and then eventually I come back and my game is loaded. If I would be crashing more often, I think I would be a lot more annoyed by this, but due to my game luckily being fairly stable, I cannot complain too much. Or yeah, I mean, playing this game on a hard drive, not on an SSD, I'm not gonna say seems painfully questionable to me, but I'm absolutely gonna tell you that that seems very painful to me. I would not want to do that. Even on my SSD, this game is painfully slow sometimes. Hey, hold on. We have custom versions of these that draw on everything. So we're gonna change to our custom version here and very lightly get centered in. If you say it takes you 2 minutes to load the game, you mean it takes you 2 minutes to load into your save, right? Because if your entire game takes 2 minutes to load, then you're the last person supposed to complain about anything. Because my game takes a solid 15 to 20 minutes till it booted up. And I wish I'd be over exaggerating, but I'm absolutely not over exaggerating. I do load a solid 15 to 20 minutes till I'm in the game. Which again, I don't think is a big problem, like especially due to me not really crashing. I don't really mind it. Like that time is fine. But yeah, if you have to troubleshoot something or you have issues with your game, then is where those loading times become very painful and lethal. Yeah, I mean, 15 to 20 minutes indeed is long, but then I also have an incredible big amount of custom things in this save. So I'm not surprised by those loading times. And due to my stability being so fine or so good, I'm honestly fine with it. Otherwise, I would be a lot more annoyed. And also, I'm on a fairly weak computer, right? Like if you have a good computer, then that should be a bit faster. But my computer is by now like 3-year-old self built for I don't even know. I think $900 back then. So I would be crazy expecting good performance on this. For that, I'm always positively surprised to be honest, because I can stream perfectly fine. My game runs perfectly fine, which there's many people with very powerful computers having more issues than I do. So I'm not gonna complain about it. 573. Holy shit. I thought I have a big mod list, but that is a lot more than in mine. I do have a shitload of local assets though. So the number of my mods also is definitely deflated because quite a few of the things I use are local instead of accessible. So here this actually bites us a bit in the ass. I would like to stain these as well, but since the mesh is so weird and broken, I cannot properly apply any stains here. Here we can kinda trick, but here I cannot put any stains on there. It's fine. Could be worse than that. One thing we definitely need quite a bit in this area is different kinda construction, or not construction, but delivery vehicles to prop this up a bit more interesting. And then we need to have a go around on normal citizens everywhere here, and then I think this build is already taking shape. Is there anything you guys would wish for that you're missing for our scrapyard here? Holy shit. Yeah, okay, if it's CS1, then that number makes sense, because I was gonna say that seems like you must have subbed to every single mod for CS2 that there is. But yeah, I guess if you're playing with CS1 mods, there is so much more for you guys that does add up. And sorry for being a bit less organized with what we're doing today than usual. Not like I'm ever properly organized, but we have not played in so long that I actually am a bit all over the place because I don't know what we were working on and what we do really want to finish up. So we've been jumping back and forth even more than usual. I mean, I beat both of you. The highest amount of CS1 assets I ever used was a grand total of 0. So I think my CS1 probably loaded a lot quicker than yours. But I also did only enjoy that game for, I don't know, 30 hours, 20 hours, and then decided no more of it, please. See, the only reason I'm a bit hesitant to do that is that we actually have a proper, this is supposed to be our small scrapyard. We have a full-sized junkyard back here. And in this full-sized junkyard, we have exactly what you're asking for. And we have this big vehicle crusher here. And I don't want to reuse this. I think it's too big for the small scrapyard we have. And we don't really have a forklift. The heck happened here? This definitely does not belong flying in the middle of the air like it is. What the heck? Some of the static plopper build changed some while ago, and since some of these just replace themselves in a very unwanted way. So hold on. I think the way we had this, if I recall correctly, was back here as an entrance with a pipe coming out of it. Actually, good we seen that, because that was not wanted. And also go ahead and heat those out. Now that looks more appropriate again. I mean, there is a guy who's been trying to make a forklift very desperately. I think he uploaded 21 different attempts of it onto PDX mod, and the latest forklift actually does not look bad, but it has very shiny windows, so I didn't like it too much. Otherwise, I would be absolutely with you. I would love a forklift. You know what we can try? Because we've gotten this thing here new, and I always wanted to build something. We're gonna try something together, Jordan, and I blame you for this if it doesn't work out, because it was your suggestion. Let's have a look. We're taking this one, and we're actually building this outside because we have so many decals there. We're taking this thing. Now we're taking this thing, and we'll take this thing and place it in the back here. This is probably not gonna work out at all, but we can try. We can try. And now what we can do is take a normal car, something like this, for example. I can already tell the distance, But if we're very motivated, we could actually build this appropriately with power lines. Because what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take this, we're gonna change this to 1, we're gonna fix the axis, and then we should be able to flip this up a bit like this. Lower this value, move it up somewhat appropriately. A bit more forward, I guess. And yes, now we would have to do the annoying part that I hate because they're so annoying to build with. But we could take power cables and actually move these onto each other. Yes, it is. Absolutely beautiful asset. Is one of my. Oh, you actually mean just I'm silly? That actually is a very good idea. You mean this, right? I want to have a look real quick because I think there is some different alternatives for this as well. This obviously is too big. What about... Yeah, no, this is even bigger. Maybe if we angle it strong enough and move it into the bottom. Let's have a quick look. I think the other one is better though. What I don't like is that the lines are not straight anymore, which obviously doesn't really make sense. But I think in the smaller one, it's kind of forgivable. Yeah, the big one I don't like. The small one I think we can actually make work. Obviously, now this would have to be a little lower so the base doesn't show. And wholeheartedly, it does not even need to be this low. It can even be a bit more like this, and then we need to use the power cables to fix it up. So I do think I can make this functional. We're gonna recolor these and move these into the correct spot, and then we're gonna try our luck at connecting the power cables and hope that it doesn't look entirely ass. And I have no clue about cars, so I cannot say anything about how this is in real life. I can just say this is exactly the vibe of vehicle that I would like in Los Vagos. And I guess is a tattoo angled, so and gets too close in the back. Something like this, I guess, is more appropriate. But yeah, again, I think together with a power cable, we can totally get this to work. So we're gonna take all of these three and move them somewhere appropriate. I guess in front of these two lifts there is not a horrible idea. Move the level up to be correct. And now we save because the power lines in manipulation mode are not good. I hate the flame. I use a flame sometimes. I absolutely hate the flame. I get rid of the flame 90% of the time. And I always forget how to search for this. I guess we want low vol. Are we gonna find it like this? Yes, perfect. We want exactly what we have here. And we want to place it somewhere where we have no decal. So we're going to go ahead and place this out here. We need 2 of those. And now we go into manipulation mode, turn on the net lanes and try to find these. They are underground by default. And now we move those up. And now we have those at a stage where we can kind of work with them. So we'll take this side. This is going to become horribly finicky. We're going to disable the props. Can already see this is still too high. So we're going to go in here, make sure that we have only a single one connected. Come on, give me any net lane, just this one. And move it to the correct position, which should be there. And now we should be able to take this side, move it over here. And obviously the connection is going to be a bit illogical and weird. I can already see that this has not been great placement. And the second one, we just lower into the car. Again, the positioning of it probably will not make proper sense, but we're not trying to build a perfect truck. We're trying to get a nice illusion of one here. Why am I so off with this one? I replaced this multiple times now and it's just getting worse and worse. Still way too high. Always need to change the angle because the angle is betraying us a lot here. Kinda, not perfect, and it has that slight sway in it, which I cannot avoid. Am I allowed to get away with this? Is obviously not perfect, but kinda. If we put the second cable here now, I think we can get away with it. Obviously, this doesn't really make sense. The cable would never be connected here where we connected it. But, well, I guess what we should actually do is take this lower one and just place it straight down here to the front bumper. Get it so the sway doesn't fully go out of it. Yeah, I guess this is a lot more logical. I think I'm gonna be harsh and allow this to myself. I think we can get away with this as a truck pulling it. Is a bit weird, obviously, but I think it's fine enough. Now, the color of this is something I absolutely don't like. So we'll fix this up. And now we'll do the second cable, and I think then it's fine. Yes, you can. You can absolutely. It's something I do sometimes. I can show you my greatest power line work is up here, where you can see we have nice power lines here. And then you see we have a kicked over power line here, where we have only 2 of the 3 cables still in place, and then have the last cable go into the ground. So yes, you can. They are really annoying to work with. In fact, I guess what you want to do is exactly this, and just actually connect it to the building, which, yes, you can. It's gonna be painfully annoying and finicky, as you could see when I was working with them. But yes, possible if you were willing to suffer, I guess. And I guess I am generally willing to suffer, so here we are. With this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these and try to find the right one, which should be this, and set it to object keys. That should mean that it's already at the right level. And then we move it over. I mean, if you love to suffer, then the power line is probably your favorite new asset. Because I can tell you, this is poor suffering. Like every time I work with this, I am very happy about the result afterwards, but I also slightly hate myself for having to have built it, because these are absolutely horrible to work with. Especially if you get in a position like us now, where these are very close to each other. So you keep picking the wrong one. But I think we can actually mainly trick around here, because now what we should be able to do is just take this far side, this one, Now we need to figure out the lower one is that, and now we move it to object keys, which should have moved this to. Oh, we had a wrong one selected, I guess. We want this selected. We want it to object keys of the. Yes, okay. I think we can get the second one to be fairly unpainful. Because now all we. The heck? Okay, I take everything back. I broke stuff. Why are these not at the correct level already? They should be at the correct level. Hold on. These all should go onto this level, which should be correct now again. Okay, perfect. And now we want to take just this one and move it to this level. Okay, and now please behave. Don't change the level or anything. So MND, if you like pain, I think I could convince you to use the power lines a lot because clearly they're very power or very painful to work with. The one thing I wish I had would be a version of these without the sway, because the sway is fairly painful and kinda can destroy your build a bit. But I think this works, no? This was Jordan's idea, so I hope Jordan is happy with what we've done here. Because I do think it's not perfect, but is a nice try at it. You love it. Okay, I'm very happy with this. Now, the next thing, obviously, we would like to have a forklift, but I don't have a forklift, so sadly, that is not something we can do. Otherwise, I gladly would do so. And this decal annoys the heck out of me because it means we cannot recolor anything here. So we're gonna do something really quick here because obviously we want this car, that's the lift, I can tell already. Please don't make this more finicky than it has to be. These two and this. We're gonna take them. Nice, that actually was a vehicles. Move them over here. Now we recolor those to whatever we want. Some boring classical. See, for this one, Jordan can even get his flames. I'm fine with flames in some of these. Give it an aggressive racing green, a bit less colorful. Now we're gonna take it, move this over. Give this some orangey flames in there. And this we're gonna give some boring van color. Needs to look like this guy is properly on his way to kidnap some kids. If it looks like that, then we're done perfectly fine. And now we just revert the move it movement. And now we have them recolored where we want to. This is just an annoyance because of these high decals, which means we cannot touch the object. So this is the best asset I personally have ever built. These are in my Discord. If you would like to have them, there is an ad break, I guess. So I'm gonna wait for the ad break. But let me know if you can hear me again. Baganario. Yeah, I have a download channel. Seems like you can still hear me. There's not much in there, and most of them are not like flawlessly cleaned up, but there is a few of the things I built I actually put in there. I do have a few more assets that I never gotten around throwing in there that I guess I should. But especially now with proper assets coming, I don't feel like the interest for these smaller self-built things is gonna be too big. But yeah, I guess the car lifts are fairly decent and a nice asset to have for these kind of things. What do you mean with short one for you? I don't follow. Oh, the ad break. Okay, yeah, perfect. I feel like my ad breaks are mostly fairly short, to be honest. I guess Twitch is aware that I'm a brand risk to each and everybody out there. So I'm getting less ads than most people, it feels like. Which honestly can't blame them. Probably a safe and good decision from their side. Yeah, now I know what we're doing here is not the most interesting because I'm pretty much just circling through the random junk piles, but it's a scrapyard after all and is a lot too clean for my liking currently. So we will have to go ahead and dirty this by a fair margin, especially in those rundown back areas here. For me, that time stopped, but there was a very long time on Twitch where I kept seeing only a single ad, and it was an ad for Berlin's public transport company, which I think is cool. I actually like those as company. Only slight flaw Twitch is I don't live in Berlin. What do you guys want me to do? Move city just so I can start being a client of the public transport company in a different city? Otherwise, great thinking, great ad, everything really nice, but I'm not sure how effective it is to make public transport in a city somebody doesn't live in. I can. I don't know why you never could. Riz, you've been complaining about this for a long time. I can. Look, I'm placing page up, page down. I can totally adjust them. Because Riza, he's not joking. Riza has been complaining to me for the last multiple months that he cannot do this. I don't know what he does different than me. I don't know why I'm allowed to do it and he isn't. But it is a real thing. Riza cannot do this. Really, you also can't. I do this with page up and page down. This is just, there is one important thing. You have to, but I told you this many times and it's not your problem. You cannot have snap to surface on, right? As soon as you turn this on, it will use it to change to underground mode instead. But with this turned off, at least for me, works flawlessly. As you guys can see, I'm currently using page up and page down to move those prior to having placed them. So not sure where the issue is on your side, but I do think this is an issue on your side, sadly. I don't think I ever changed the setting for that though. I might have and not recall it, but I do think this has always been default behavior for me. So again, take it with a grain of salt because I'm silly and everything I say should be taken carefully. But for me, this always worked without any issues. Could always just move stuff around the way I would want to. So what I definitely don't like yet is how empty this entire side here is. Yeah, see, it is by default. Yeah, just strange result, because I don't see a reason why for you it would be behaving different than for me. And I know that you've been wholeheartedly complaining about this for months now. Maybe I'm over exaggerating, but it does really feel like you've been complaining about it for months now. So, not entirely sure where the solution is for you, but it should be working. Is that not exactly the thing you don't want to hear when something for you isn't working and people tell you, yeah, it should work though, and you're like, yeah, it doesn't. But I don't have any good other info for you because it should work. Is all I can say. Yeah, you should see a warning if keybinds are overlapping. There is something you can do, but it's a bit finicky. What you can do, I think that might actually fix it for you, Rizara, but is a bit of a weird fix. I use that fix in the editor, because in the editor I otherwise have problems. But you can go into Anarchy, and then you can go here, where it says Mimic Vanilla Increase and Decrease Elevation Keybinds. You can disable this and then change the increase and decrease elevation keybinds to something different. Because yes, the Mimic Vanilla does cause some issues. I've been talking to Yen about this in the past, and he himself says he's not happy with the way this works and might make this default. But I'm using the vanilla mimicking, and it still works fine for me right now. So it shouldn't be causing issues for you, is all I can say. But I know it does cause issues for you, so that's not the answer you want to hear. Yeah, maybe also Jordan's tip is not a bad one. Have you ever asked Yen about that? Because the one person that should be able to tell you what the issue is obviously Yang Yang, which I'm sure he doesn't have enough to do already, managing every single important mod of our community. So reach out with caution, but also he's a very cute and friendly guy that generally likes helping people to get his stuff to work. So if you can't get it to work, you maybe should ask him carefully. I had that issue that Jordan is describing in many other games in the past, but I never had it as an issue in Cities, so I'm not entirely sure. Not sure where the issue is there, but yeah, weird for sure. The question is, are we motivated enough to brand some of the vehicles for Moose? Is a scrapyard? I guess a scrapyard is not having the most perfect branding for things like this. Generally, I really like branding vehicles as well, but it is pretty tedious. So you can always buy any place in Los Vagos if it's not already bought, which most of the city is unowned. So if you have something in mind, gladly tell me what you have in mind. Otherwise, I can do a little realtor tour for you if you would tell me what kind of property you would like to own. Maybe you also have something in mind already. I don't know, but I've been a realtor in the past, showing people around, trying to find stuff that is appropriate. Obviously, you can sadly not buy the thing we're building on today because it's a Moose dedication build. So this one sadly is not up, but otherwise most things are up. And the most interesting redeem in my channel, I think, is the district takeover, because unlike all the other redeems, it's permanent, or it's not permanent. So if, for example, you would like to steal Gaga's area here, you can totally do that. You can just buy it, redeem it, and now it's yours, but everybody can steal it in the future as well. Is our small gang fight in Los Vagos over claiming property, which I don't think it gets very seriously used, but it's why that redeem is so cheap compared to the other ones. Okay, and here I'm just doing this to understand which areas we have to keep safe. For example, I can right away see that this pass here, we will have to adjust. We will have to go here and move it over there to get a nice connection here. And then we will go in with better bulldozer and take this and delete that pass up to here, because obviously we don't want people walking through it. Yeah, Gaga is a moderator on here and probably watches me pretty much whenever he can. So Gaga has been busy taking over the city. I don't yet have a brothel. Otherwise, I would say right away it's yours. That is something that is on the agenda. In fact, it's a long time in the making. This entire area here, I would like to turn into a bit of a nightlight district. The only reason I have never done that yet is a technical one that I find very annoying and painful. And it is this. If you remove the sub-elements on these buildings here, I would just want to remove all of the advertising, right? Because I don't want anything to mess with my build. The problem is, if you do that here, you cannot target the advertising, you're targeting the entire storefront. This storefront is what carries the functionality in these buildings. So if we delete these properties here don't have any commercial access anymore. So I can't really delete it, and I guess I could just work on top of it. But I don't want to cover up all of these brandings. I want full control, because even if we cover it up nicely, this one will be fairly easy to cover up. What happens if the company moves out and a new company moves in? Suddenly, all of this will change and it might break our build. So I've always been waiting for Yang Yang to find a solution for that, because he is aware of the problem and would like to fix it as well. But I think he's busy with more important things. But that's the only reason why these are still on the back burner. Yes, but even with company changer, I cannot delete everything. Yes, I can make sure that the company doesn't move in and out. And I guess I could try to find companies that are very unintrusive, but otherwise not really. What can it lock? That companies move in or out, or can it remove the entire branding? I will have to have a look at that again. The only reason I have been careful with that mod yet is that I don't generally like to change things about the functionality or the simulation of the game, and that mod is quite impactful for the simulation. Because assuming, for example, you have a company in there that does not make money and should leave the city, if I now lock it in, is that just visually and I keep the same signage, or does that mean that unprofitable profitable company cannot leave my city anymore? Because if it's a second, that will mess with your demands and will break things. I guess Starkey is the question or the person who I should ask this to, but it makes me a bit unsure, right? Because potentially it could have pretty negative impact on your simulation. I will keep it in mind, Rezara. I have so many different things I'm building on right now that I can tell you the brothel is not gonna be any of the things you will get anytime soon. Eventually, I promise you, you will, because I do totally want more red light strict or red light district in our city. So again, will come, but not anytime soon. This one we should actually angle a little. If there is anything you want to buy in the meanwhile, feel free to. Otherwise, you will have to be patient, and I will build you a brothel eventually. Where's a normal box truck? This one. We did have enough space next to the traffic here to place one there, and we can even go ahead and place a pickup. Am I blind? Oh, I am indeed very blind. It's right there. Place one of these here in the front. Obviously, this one we will have to angle. That looks alright. And we recolor this to not look as horrid. Yeah, it's fair. Honestly, probably a mod I should be using. Again, the only reason I'm not using it is that I'm a bit of a bitch and I'm scared of messing with my simulation because I would like to keep Los Vagos for a long, long time. So I'm very hesitant with anything that could bear risk for my save. And I guess this could bear risk for my save, so I've been very careful with it. I just hope Better Bulldozer gets a way how to delete those without messing with anything else. But yeah, I guess that's not gonna happen anytime soon. So I probably should stop waiting on it as well. Alright, some fishy deliveries. Of course, Moose is getting word packages from somewhere. We're not asking questions, but it is a bit weird that none of these are labeled from anything. If you would buy something appropriate, then I'm sure the boxes would be a bit more telling. And yeah, gladly let me know, Baganario. That would actually interest me. Because that makes a world of a difference, right? If it's just visual, then yeah, that's perfectly fine and cannot really bear any risk for my save. But if it's not just visual, then yeah, you can actually break your simulation with these kind of mods. In general, I'm very much unresistant with visual mods and add whatever to my city. But if it's with simulation mods, I'm the exact opposite. The only simulation mod I use is realistic parking. because I think realistic parking is pretty much mandatory, but everything else I don't really see need for. Yeah, don't get eaten by your dog, Rizara. Your dog is gigantic and looks very dangerous because mostly the small dogs are the angriest. I think so. Yeah, you better do whatever he's demanding of you, and if he's demanding a walk, then you better get your booty moving and have a walk with him right now. But as always, thanks for tuning in, mate, and have a nice evening. Okay, so this bag is starting to look a lot more appropriate. I think I'm fairly happy. The one thing I'm not happy with is that we cannot stay in this side, but we just can't, so I guess it's something I have to accept. Yeah, it really is. Like, if there's one thing I learned in my life, the small dogs are always the angriest ones. So, yeah, you better be careful with her, huh? Yeah, and I don't want this to be overcrowded people-wise, but I want this to look busy. So I guess we need a few more personnel back here. And now I guess this one should also unload, so something more is happening. And then really just a few random props, and I think we are happy with the backyard, this side, and then I guess we need some more love for this front area here. Which really, this front area also will be mainly a few props and maybe a few more people, because indeed this does look a bit empty. We just need a few people to actually check things out here, get this to be a bit more alive. But that's all I think we really need here. Because usually you would go ahead and put like benches and trash cans and all of those things, but it's a scrapyard, right? This is not an area where people are gonna hang out much. You go here if you need something and you buy it and you move away again. Or if you wanna get rid of something, of course. Okay, better. I do think we also have all of this pet pass already, so we should see people walking here. We do see people walking here for sure, at least. And I would like to take screenshots of this already after today to show this to Moose, but then I'm also I do hate screenshot with unfinished background, so I don't think we can screenshot this till we build out these blocks around it as well. Which some of these are done. These four here are done. This one just basically needs detailing. But this area up here is still very much up in the air. I'm not sure if I like the look of it. So there probably we're gonna have to revisit this a bit more appropriately. Aye, welcome in, Masa. Nice to see you, cutie. And yeah, I guess I've not streamed in a while. First it was Christmas and New Year's and me being busy with family and such, and then afterwards I was in holidays where sadly I was quite sick for a fair bit of my holidays, so not optimal, but regardless, I couldn't really stream much in that time. But now everything is back to the norm, so I hope I'll get to stream a bit more again. And nice to see you. How has the new year treated you? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine again. Like maybe still a bit more tired and weak, but I'm always weak, so nothing much changed really. I'd like to press even more vehicles here, but I don't want to mess with the functionality, so we need something small. We can put a Miata here. If you say busy, you're busy with university, I assume. I mean, I guess you're still grumpy at cities anyways and hiding playing Anno, which I have to admit, Anno does look really fun. And whenever I watch your Anno streams, I think I should also try it. But then I already have too little time to play cities, and I love cities, so I'm trying to stay away of different kind of games. Not because I would not like to play them, but mainly because I feel like I have enough time consuming things in my life that I already have too little time for. So trying to behave and not get even more of those. And here I wasn't sure if I was gonna do this, but the longer I see this, the more I think we actually need to fill up a very little of this middle circle area here and turn this into a proper green circle where people drive around. Maybe this area is a bit too tight. We're gonna go ahead and delete the few ones too far right. This is more appropriate. Right now this looks a bit weird. Give me a moment and it's gonna look more sensible. Just needs proper layering. Which I know not the most interesting, but wholeheartedly, if you spend a lot of detailing, I think pretty much the biggest impact to be had visually in this game is vegetation. Don't cut short on your vegetation, at least if you want your build to be as pretty as you can get it. I think it's the one area you should not cut corners in. Even though I myself wish sometimes I could do that more. But look at how much this open spacing being a bit more confined now, how much of a difference it makes. I think is gigantic. But I see that there is an ad break in a minute, even though Seribot says it's now ready. I think it's going to be in a minute, and I have not taken a break so far. So I will try to find a park ranger or police officer and send you guys on a short road trip while I run to the toilet and grab something to drink. I'll be back in like 3 minutes, roughly. I shouldn't take too long, but I need a quick refresher break at least. So enjoy your road trip, and I'll be back with you cuties in a moment. All right, I'm back. And I like that you're excited for the road trip. To be honest, I'm always a bit sad because we mainly do road trips when I'm AFK real quick, so I miss it myself. But it really is the part where I feel verified in spending so much small detailed love and wasting so much energy in many of our small builds, detailing to the last little bit, because goddamn does it pay off in these close up road trip rides. So I'm sometimes sad that we mainly do those while I'm not around, because I generally miss those, but stunning. And I know you're not that much into cities right now, but goddamn, I can only recommend you to get back in this game, because even small stuff, right? There is somebody who made a custom container prop pack, and I did not think it would work like this, but it's beautiful because these containers he made, they get used by random stuff in the game. So now a lot of the trucks or trains, yeah, here we have a train, even better to show it on, they are now getting loaded up by these custom containers. And I think it's beautiful. It adds so much small realism and variation that even something as simple as changing out the containers, it makes a world of a difference for me. And I absolutely adore these. Is one of my favorite new, very simple, obviously very simple mods of the editor release. But goddamn, am I happy about seeing more of these custom containers in our build. I think it's beautiful, and I just before we go away, I see that there is things here popping back up that we don't want, and it's these trees. They are not welcome in our build. I don't know why that happens. Generally, we add anarchy components everywhere, so this cannot happen that we have stuff spawning or despawning, but I guess it happens regardless, no matter how much we try for it not to happen. I cannot fully get around it. But I also do think, sadly, looking at the clock, that I cannot stream that much longer anymore today. I will stream for a little more and will try to finish up this junkyard entirely. But I started streaming a lot earlier than I usually do, cause I knew I couldn't stream very long today and I still really wanted to. So we will have to put like an half an hour sprint or something to finish this up and have this look a bit more interesting. And then sadly, I will already have to call it a night. But I'm back from my holidays, so a lot more streams are about to come again. I know I've not been really streaming at all prior to this, so no streaming has its end, and we're back to streaming more regularly now. Question is, what else do we use to fill this up a bit? Because especially this side is so empty. I do really wish we'd had more variation in this, but I love all of these junk meshes, and we're in a scrapyard, so I guess if there's a place where it's reasonable to overuse those a bit, it's here. And they just do so much heavy lifting, like even placing a single object in an area like that just makes it feel a lot more filled out and a lot less bare bone and weirdly empty. So very thankful for these. In fact, these are the only reason that I went out and bought the San Francisco pack. Do I think the San Francisco DLC is worth it and you get a good amount for your money? Not at all. Do I think it's worth it to buy it if you really love this game and want to build junkyards and run down things? Sadly, yes, I think this is one of the more important DLCs, even though the entire reason for them is just these few props. But yeah, these few props are really needed, in my opinion, and honestly, should just be in the base game, but I guess that's not a thing. So if you want to build a junkyard, you do need the SF or San Francisco DLC. You say this is late dinner, then your eating schedule is a lot more in check than mine. Because for me, this would not be a late dinner at all. I knew because I didn't originally have them, and then I really wanted to build my first junkyard, and I couldn't. And I was like, the heck, I see these in so many YouTube videos. I see so many people using these assets. Why don't I have them? So I asked, I believe, in Suli's Discord, and people told me that I need a San Francisco DLC for it. And again, I think it's not great value for money, but for somebody who plays the game as much as I do, I guess it totally is good value for money. Yeah, okay, I guess if you go to bed at 10, then indeed eating now is quite late. I don't have the best sleep schedule, wording that carefully. It's gotten a bit better, but there is a lot of room for improvement, I might say myself. And it's funny because you liking Anno so much is hilarious because I think when I installed Cities, I was looking for Anno because I wanted simulation city game, which obviously Cities is not a proper simulation Cities game. I actually was looking for something a lot more like Anno and a lot less than Cities. But now I've fallen in love with Cities so much that I'm not looking for anything like Anno anymore. And I just want to be left alone so I can play Cities, which I did not expect to happen, but I guess it happened anyways. And I'm sure you will have a blast. I know breaks are good and you play Anno as much as you want, but I can tell you that the asset editor, even though we have not gotten super much or amazing different new things, I am having an absolute blast since the asset editor, even though it's just a few things. I do think it really makes a world of difference. And the more I look at this, the more I think we are very close to being finished. What it definitely does need is a second quick run of vegetation, especially in some areas. We want more overgrowth and ground vegetation. But after that, I think pretty much the last thing we're gonna do is brand a few vehicles, because we have our nice scrapyard branding. And even though it's a bit annoying and tedious, oh, whoops. This is not optimal, them driving through here. I don't want to get rid of what we detailed though, so I'm gonna take a more nuclear option and we're gonna delete this building block. We still have two of them being functional, so we have a lot happening, but not as much. What decoration stuff? Because wholeheartedly, I didn't really play. I hated the Bridges and Ports DLC, not because the DLC was bad, but because it kind of broke the balancing of my entire city. And the devs immediately came out and say it's a balancing issue. So pretty much said, hey, we're gonna fix this in future, but for now it's broken. And I did really not feel like rebuilding my entire city just so they fix it a while later. So I basically didn't play the game in between Bridges and Ports and the bike patch. So for me, it was so much new things at once. I've been absolutely loving it. Like, I find new stuff still that I haven't used yet. And there is a lot of amazing new assets, both vanilla as well as editor. So yeah, highly recommend. Yeah, there is new benches, but there is a lot of new benches, like both from the editor as well as from DLCs. Like we've gotten a lot of small stuff. I have to admit, one thing I would have expected more to get released of is small props though. Like, yes, we've gotten a few new props from DLCs and a few from the editor as well. But I would have imagined with the editor launch, we get a lot more like smaller little props to build with. And I think that area is still kinda underwhelming. But again, it's not a race. Even with what we've gotten from the editor now, it's feels like multiple region packs really. So I will never complain about free content. And yeah, look, here is a site where this mesh is weirdly broken, and we can apply things only with annoying difficulty, like here, and now we can go in and take this decal and move it down, but it's very annoying to place things on this side. I think they added a few very beautiful buildings in these last DLCs, because if you're interested in new stuff, for example, this entire thing, which is not fully detailed yet, but we're working on it, these are all new. These are all new. Like this entire area is very dominated by new bikes or bridges and park things. These, I also think, absolutely beautiful buildings. These are all new. And then these lower plazas, I think they came with the bridges and ports. I'm actually not sure, but they also still feel new to me. This is new, this beautiful bus terminal. It's a lot of things, especially if you're as much of a detailer as I am, and you totally are. I know your cute builds. So for us, really, there's been a lot of gifts in there where you can have a lot of fun with. So I'm sure you will enjoy yourself. Maybe. I don't know. For me, the truth is, cause I play the game so much, even if some of the DLCs or region packs I use pretty much exclusively for a few buildings, that still absolutely is worth the money to me, just cause I play the game so much. So I think anything else would be a bit unhonest. I'm not saying it's a good amount what you're getting for your money, but then if you play the game a lot, all of them are absolutely worth it. Because I, for example, have very little interest in the skyscraper DLC by itself, but even if it's just a very few things in there, that totally makes it worth it for me. Did we put this in its? Oh yeah, it has its own one. Okay, Moose Scrapyard. Now we want to brand one of the sides correct, and then we can go to the other one. So first thing first, we move this a little too high to see what we're doing. We turn this for 90, so I guess that means we're starting with this side. Now we move this somewhere appropriate. We will actually have to angle this a bit. I hope we can get this to look somewhat appropriate on this vehicle at all. Maybe this was a bad choice of a vehicle to begin with. Let's see if we slide angling, we can get this to look okay. The question is, which is the correct angle? This? Yes, but wrong way. Something like -4. That's still too little, I think. -6. If we now move this Even more. Holy shit, that's so angled, actually. 8. Now we move this even more. I cannot believe what is happening here. I would have guessed that angle way less, but I guess -10 looks pretty okay-ish. And now we get it as close as we can. Do we buy this? This is okay enough. I think it is okay enough. So now we go ahead and we take this and we copy it. And now we paste this into it as a child. So we can actually take it out. And we take the child and we have to turn this to -90. I hate it. You can't just type the minus in front. And we have to, oh, actually this has to be 180 because it's going from the other one. We're gonna have to change all of these to 0. The way we put this as a child messes with what we're doing a bit, but we have to do this so we can import and export this as a single element and apply this to the other vans as well. So bear with me, that complication we're making us here has a reason. Okay, and obviously this now we have to change to 10. No, to -10 as well? What the heck? Should that not be? Oh, because the other one is angled, this actually has to be -20 because it's taking the -10 from the other one as well. Okay, this all makes sense. I just was a bit slow in my head, which I guess is surprising nobody. But yes, this should work, and now we should be able to save and import this into other vehicles, and we can just brand this single one, and then maybe we brand this one as well, and that should be good enough. I don't want to do this too much, but okay, we go in here, go back to write everywhere, and we save this as an XML, and we call this Moose Junk Fort, because I think that's a fort. I don't know much about cars, so might not be a fort, but I think it's a fort. And now we would like to just select this vehicle, but we can't because there's lots of things on top of it. So we're gonna have to move this up and hopefully not click the wrong button like I did, but click page up and page down instead. Did I just do it again? Holy, I'm fat fingering right now. Oh yeah, no worries. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy Minecraft. But now with what we do, we should be able to just import this, and we're gonna have to find moves for junkyard, and there we go. It's right there immediately. And now we can just go back to move it and move this back to where we want it and have the branding on there perfectly. Very nice. Now the question is, are we quicker doing this from scratch or are we quicker just importing it again and fixing it up? I think we can just go in and import this everywhere. If we go in here, obviously then for this we have to fix it up a bit, but not too much. We go take this and then we move one of these to the correct side, which I don't know which one it is. This, okay, that's perfect. We can start with this. We have to adjust the angle to 0. The heck? Why is that angled? Oh, because we're seeing the wrong side actually. This is the one we touch right now, so why don't we see the other one? I'm so confused. Oh, because we're just moving the inner one. That is absolutely my bad. This is what I wanted to do. And we should see the other one coming out here, but we don't. Yes, there it is. I used to be a lot quicker with Right Everywhere. We now have not played the game in a while, so I will have to get more used to everything again. But now that is perfectly fine, and we're gonna be lazy and just delete this, copy this, paste this as a child. Now we have to reset all of these to 0. And then for the last truck, this should also be quicker than for this one. Oh god, I am so silly right now. Why did I do that for the top element? Obviously, we did not want to reset all of these. My bad. We're gonna have to move that one appropriately again, and then actually edit the correct element and not the nonsense I've been doing. Right after I said I'm not good at Right Everywhere anymore, I messed up severely, so I guess I've just proven what I said. We paste this at child, and now we have to make sure to work on the child and not on the parent, else you're messing up like I just did. But now it's true what I said, and we want to reset all of these, and then obviously turn these to 180. Now it should be turned around entirely, and now we should be able to move it through here, and we are. There we go. That is fine, and I guess we're not cutting corners today, so we're gonna do this one last time and do it here, and I actually do think I'm quicker doing it manually than adjusting this over and over. So we're gonna do this manual quick. Somewhere like this, and this can be really big, 250 even, something like this. Move this perfectly in the middle. Okay, actually I should have moved it onto the plane first, because now it's not in the middle at all anymore. Now it is. Okay, that's perfect. And now we're gonna go ahead and copy it and do the same as we just did. Paste it as a child, just in case we wanna move this different before. We're gonna have to turn this to 180 and all of these to 0. And now we should be able to move it through here, and we're done. That wasn't too bad, honestly. I just think branding something like this does make a giant difference. If you look at these things, it feels a lot more complete branded like that. This has a bit too much margin, no? Where can I touch the building? God damn it. Here I can touch the building, and now I wish there was a way to see which one you're working on right now. Because I would really like to avoid working on the wrong one. Wrong one. Yeah, see, I absolutely despise this. Which one are we moving now? This one. Okay, we're gonna have to try around real quick to find the right one. I don't even know which one I'm moving. This is why if you're clever and like me, you name your layers so you would know what you're working on, but then I am not clever, so I don't name my layers. And yes, see Baganario calling me out for exactly what I should totally be doing, but I'm too lazy to. Because yes, this is a man-made, self-made issue, cause I'm not renaming them. You are very much correct in pointing that out, but I don't know. I am lazy when I build those things, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do any more anyways, so no need to rename it. And then later on, that bites me in the ass. But I do think I consider this to be a done build. What are we missing? Are we missing anything? Usually, I would say we're missing bollards to bollard this up a bit. But is a scrapyard? A scrapyard doesn't really need bollards. Maybe I do have an idea of what is missing here. Actually, what we should do is take the small boulder, because this is the low budget version of bollards, I guess, to just place some boulders to block cars from driving in. And I guess that is very much junkyard appropriate. Because bollards would feel a bit overboard for this, but having it entirely open also seems worth, because then people would totally take advantage and just drive through. But again, this seems like a nice compromise for what we need. Yeah, I know, again, you are totally correct, Baganariu, but I'm just gonna not rename it and hope I will never have to adjust it in future. Else, if I have to adjust it in future, I will be in a bit of physical pain. But it's man-made pain, so I can own it. If it's my fault, I have nobody to blame but myself. Are we missing anything else? I don't think we're missing anything else. I do think this is a pretty well-rounded and fair build by now. Actually, I do take that back. We totally do need one last branding on here, because this literally is a signage made for branding. And then we can use a few and go to these. Sully has a bunch of really fitting ones for what we're doing here. Let's find the correct ones from Sully. Not this. First, we buy and sell is perfect for Sully. Or from Sully for what we're doing here, because yes, these perfectly buy and sell. We're gonna throw these over the entrance here. And the one I was actually looking for, I think, is this one. Yes, I think this is a really cute addition for these smaller entrances. Especially if they're meant as a kind of garage. So that one does some very heavy lifting here. Maybe a smaller one like this, but we have a lot of decals here already. I don't want to go too overboard, which already probably we've done that. But not even more like this. But yes, time to place a very last ride everywhere instance and then never touch this again. And this time we're just gonna add a new one so we cannot confuse ourselves. As always, we don't name it or we don't rename it because we're silly and gonna complain about it in future instead. The easiest way I like to do this is just moving it up to 10 so you can see it. Now the question is, where is it? And it is right here. Now let's see which the right orientation is. That is the right orientation. This worked out a lot smoother than I imagined it to. This will be a pretty quick one. And yes, I'm glad I kicked my booty to still do this, because this signage without it on top would be a bit weird. And with this here, that looks a lot more appropriate. Now, obviously, to fix the sizing a bit, that looks very appropriate. Is this not very appropriate now? And I do think with this, I will actually call it a day already. I know it was a very early and untypically early stream of mine today. I know this is not the best time for me to stream for most of you, and I'm sorry for that. But I had so little time lately and did really want to stream, and today was the best slot for me to throw that in. So I decided, even on a pretty unoptimal time, I will just go ahead and throw out a quick stream and show you guys around. We did a bit of progress here. I think the next time we're really gonna dive into this area, which I detailed quite a bit already. It will need a lot of love in this plaza, in this entire area, to make this a bit more interesting. And then we're gonna work our way up here because we have a lot of pretty much finished but non-detailed areas. And it's this block, this block, this block, this block, and then this big factory over here. And once we have all of that filled in, this is actually starting to look like a pretty finished city from this side, which is gonna be a long, long time since or till this actually is a finished city. But we're making progress towards it and slowly and surely getting there. And then eventually we will also have to do some proper road work because this is horrible and this is horrible, but I don't like road work and it's not my strong suit in this game. So I tend to avoid diving in too much road work, but yeah, sooner or later we cannot run away from it anymore, and I will have to do some more road work on stream. But with that, thank you so much for everybody tuning in and for all of the nice raids we've gotten today with Andy and Chilka and Holy. If we had one more raid, I cannot think of right now because I'm starting to get tired. Embarrassing. Who raided us as well? We had somebody between Chilka and Andy. Actually, we didn't. I'm just streaming. Okay, never mind. We had Andy and Shilka raid us today. And with that, I'm gonna have a quick look at who's streaming. I don't usually stream on Thursdays, so I'm not aware, but I see both Dava as well as Trash Can and Jedi streaming. We're gonna raid Trash Can. Without question, Trash Can is an absolute great streamer and has spent quite a bit of time on learning to model and import stuff into cities. Not sure if he's playing today or doing asset stuff, but very enjoyable regardless, and somebody who I'd highly recommend. And since I'm gonna have to leave you guys already, I'm gonna send you guys over to Mr. Trashcan. And with that, thank you, QT, so much for tuning in. I hope I'll stream again this weekend. I'm not entirely sure if I manage. Latest, I will stream again on Monday. And with that, have a wonderful evening and enjoy your time over at Trashcan. Bye bye, cuties. Oh, I always forget that there is a 10-second delay afterwards. So it takes a moment, but now we've gotten it. Bye bye, cuties. Have a nice night and thanks for tuning in.